Hey guys, so this is going to be a in-depth review of the new STX K18 Universal Head. Uh, the tag mentions that it is designed inspired by Kyle Harrison, custom K18 details, which I'll get into when I get into the head, provides stability and versatility to meet the demands of an intermediate level player. So that's usually about between middle school and high school lacrosse players. So, I mean, anybody else can use it, but that's what it's designed for. Patented dual shot. I'll get into that later. Uh, the all the always present STX forward cant, which is the offset, and then it's compliant for under NCAA and NFHS rules. So basically, it's for everyone. Anybody can really use this head. To start off, it is strung with some really choice mesh designed and waxed by Chillax Customs. It is, I believe, Stringer Shack raw mesh that Nick and whoever works with him over there, whatever method they use to do it, they dyed this pattern into it, and it's supposed to be a camouflage design, so it's Carolina yellow and navy blue. You can't really tell in the lighting the navy blue, but it is not black, so it's actually really awesome. I might have to pick up another piece of different colors, maybe actual true camouflage. But back to the head, it is the K18. First thing that I noticed was the face shape. Obviously, it's not super pinched. The pinch doesn't go up very high. The flare actually starts about halfway up the head, which isn't bad. If you compare it, say, to a Superpower, it's about the same spot where Superpower starts its flare, and that's okay with me. I don't really need a super high flare head. I've always been accustomed to using mediocre slash not advanced heads, just because I could never really afford the super expensive heads, and so I have a mainstay, and that's usually what I stay with. But so, first thing you notice is the face shape, and after that, the moment I picked it up, I had to test its flex. And I'm not super strong or anything like that. I'm not very big. I don't have really big hands, but that's really stiff. That's pretty stiff to me. In comparison, I've held one of the new Revos. I haven't posted or anything like that, but I got a hold of one for a minute to just see what all the hype was about, and this is nothing close to how stiff that is. I would probably use this on a deep hole, just because it's pretty stiff. You can get some pretty decent slap checks in it, I think, and with a deep hole, you don't really want a really pinched, narrow head. And this isn't very narrow at all, so this would probably be okay for maybe a long stick midi if you're one of those types of players. Definitely for a decent midfielder, and me, I would use it for attack. So basically, you can use this head for whatever position you're playing, except for face-offs. Unless you're a guy like me, how I used to face off, which is clamp and drag. I don't actually do a pinch and pull. It's a clamp and drag type maneuver where I don't cause the head to warp. I just have this weird method where I clamp or jump the ball and just rake it out. That's all I really do. It's very basic, and I don't really need a super flexible head for that. Moving on, the scoop is actually very similar to the STX Stallion, which Kyle Harrison also helped design and test out. There's a little bit of an indenture here along where the holes are to help protect the strings a little bit, but the holes are a little spread out, just like how the Stallion is. The centers are a little bit wider than they would be on any other head that you see. The outers are maybe a little wider than they should be, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make it super difficult to string them because of that. I would probably suggest a 10 diamond top string for anybody that's not really good at stringing and can get exactly what they want every single time. That's what I would suggest. Moving on, sidewalls are pretty solid. The dual shot molding is actually pretty nice. It's really well in there. It's a lot better than how the Deuce was done, and I believe it was the Fuse. I believe it was the Fuse or the Fusion from STX that they did the gray dual shot molding all over the place. But so the molding stays in there pretty good. It doesn't really do anything for performance. It's just appearance wise. It's supposed to look really good, and it does. It looks really nice. The sidewall holes, there's one that starts up really high and really close to this top string hole, and doesn't really make it ideal for a mesh pocket. But if I do get another one of these, I'm probably going to do another review of how traditional fits in it. But moving on, I ended up having to start my top string in the second sidewall hole, and then moving from there, the sidewall holes are actually pretty well spaced out. I mean, there's not an abundance of them like the clutch or even like the Stallion. There's just not a super big amount of holes, which is okay with me because I'm used to having very few holes in the head, because I usually always use a Proton, and I don't really need a whole bunch of holes. But for you guys out there that like a lot of holes, it has a decent amount, but it does not have the amount that the clutch or Stallion has. The holes aren't square, and they're not pointed. It's kind of like a straight, I think you can see it from right here. It's kind of like a straight side and then like a turtle shell. It kind of curves up and over. But that goes all the way down to here, to almost right next to the bottom string holes. The bottom string holes are actually, you can't really see, but they're actually a little small. They probably could have made them a little bit bigger. They might be a little difficult to fit some leathers in there if you don't know how to cut them right at the edge, and so it could be pretty hard to put leathers in it. But we'll see when I actually get to that. But I've thrown with it a few times and done dodges and stuff, and I gotta say, it's by far one of my favorite STX heads that they've done so far. Oh yes, they have the whole 2 screw hole design, and I haven't actually used a head in very much that has that, and I gotta say that definitely improves my confidence in the fact that the head's not gonna come off or something like that, or rattle around. It doesn't move at all. All in all, it's a very solid head. It's got one of the best throat designs that I've seen in a while. And it's very solid. In my opinion, it was Warrior that had one of the better designs for the bottom of the whole 3-inch rule. Warrior for the longest time was making it right. Let's see if I can show you. Like at the bottom here, how it kind of comes up and then it starts straight up. They were probably the leading guys when it came to the whole 3-inch rule all the way down to the ball stop. But in my opinion, this one tops that. There's not a whole lot of plastic, but it's very solid down there. It's not going to break too easily on slap checks or anything like that, or shooting and hitting someone during your follow through. This jewel, I guess you could say, it's not really a jewel. It's just K18. It's very shiny, and then can't really see, but you could look it up on some of the videos. But there's a little bit of rubber around the K18 here that has STX etched into it a whole bunch of times in a pattern, so it's really cool. At the top in the scoop here, you can't really see it, sorry, but there is a turtle, which I believe is a symbol that's very important to Kyle Harrison, and I can totally agree with doing that, because why not put something that's important to you on something that you are helping design? It's got the custom ball stop, which is really cool. It's got his Kyle Harrison signature and number 18 on it, which of course is his number from John Hopkins. And all in all, overall I would have to give, for an all-around play, like the ability to put this in almost any position if you needed a head, I would give this a 10 out of 10. I mean, yeah, you can't really face off with it if you're a pinch and pull or a plunger type player for face-offs. I would not recommend this for face-offs. If you faced off with it, it'd probably hourglass right here, and then you'd have a whole lot of other troubles. Overall, I keep saying it over and over again, but I'd have to give this head a 10 out of 10. It's not hard. It's not super hard to string. I mean, you don't really need a bunch of holes to string. It's solid. It's pretty light. It's not as light as, say, a couple other heads out there, like the Nas or any of those chemical heads, like the super lights. It does not have the C-channel technology. A couple people have been asking me about that. It does not have that, but it does have a little bit of a way of strengthening it with how the walls are cut and whatnot. They're cut at very specific angles. They're not just square or whatever. And I'm gonna keep playing with this a lot more to really try and get a handle on it and be able to give a much more personal identity to how this head works. But so far, I'm really liking it. I don't know if it's really going to replace my Nas heads as my go-to head, but right now it definitely gets a 10 out of 10. It really looks awesome with the Chillax Customs mesh. If you guys ever see anybody with one, or if you see one at a store, definitely pick it. You don't have to go buy it. I'm not saying that, but definitely check it out. Give it a try. For having been a player for a long time and seeing all these different crazy heads coming out and whatnot, I gotta say this is probably one of STX's better heads that they've come up with. So thanks for watching, guys. My next video should be a couple reviews of mesh, and then also I should be putting up a quick tutorial on how to do a thick top coil for, say, like a pita pocket or any other special custom pocket, not for a rocket pocket. I already did one of those, but this will definitely help you guys out. You guys have been asking me to do a tutorial of some sort for a while, and I always get asked, how do you do top coils? So thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, send me messages, ask me questions. I usually try and answer anything that you guys have of me. So thanks for watching, guys. Keep laxing and always try and make yourself a better player. Thanks, guys.